Hey everyone, welcome to a quick episode from Ampro Engineering. These are a pair of taillights that I have developed for the Axial SCX10 Ford F100. This is based on the SCX10II chassis, and you can see here that these are designed to look like these stock taillights on the actual 1955 Ford F100. The first thing we're going to do is snip these apart and go ahead and trim those little bosses off. We don't need either of them. Okay, those are just there to hold them together. We may need to sand that a tad to make it nice and smooth. And now I'm going to paint the entire backside of this in silver. The reason for that is when you install the 3mm LED inside this hole, you want to help the LED to reflect off of everything. I find that using silver is a good backing. Once I paint it in silver, I will then paint it in black, because I want to spray this backing in chrome, quote unquote, and then this bar will be black, and this little section here, the screw, that will be body color. In my case, it'll be magenta. It's unfortunate that I had to go down this path, but I was concerned, but I wanted to get the taillight in a specific area, and this was the best I could do, given the rigidity and the spaces that I was working with. Make sure you mask all of the front. None of this can have any paint on it, because obviously if you paint this silver, then when you paint it in red, it'll have some splotches there where the light cannot pass through the silver. So okay, let's go ahead and paint this silver and then we'll come back to it. Sorry for the freehanding, but thought this would be a little bit easier. Here we can see the taillight has been coated in 3 coats of silver paint, and this is going to keep the lens being a little bit brighter than it would if you paint it black, which we're going to do next. And that silver inner wall will also allow the LED to bounce the light around the inside of it and give it more of a glow. Next, we're going to paint the entire backside matte black, and that'll be our last light blocking coat. I will end up leaving this shaft matte black, and this housing will paint chrome with one of these liquid chrome pens. The mounting area here will be painted body color, which in the case of this car is magenta. After the matte black was painted on top of the silver, I went ahead and clear coated it. And now I'm going to paint the backside of this, at least this area, not including this rod, using my chrome pens. And also note that this little pink area here is designed to help blend that mounting point into the body, which is that color as well. So let's paint this up in chrome and then we are ready to install. Okay, well, the taillights have been painted. You can see that the backside is done with the chrome paint, but it came out pretty good. There's the magenta of the body, and here's the black of the post that holds it. So on the inside, we can still see that there is some light coming through, and that's only from the front. So let's go ahead and tap these holes prior to installation. Those require an M2 machine tap. So we'll get our tap, and it's open on the front side there, so you can tap straight through it. You don't want to go too far out the front because you'll scratch the black paint there. So just go ahead and tap on in there. Remember that when you are screwing it down, you don't have to overly tighten this. Now it is time for installation. The holes that you're going to have to drill, you can see roughly where it is. This hole is positioned about 2mm off of this vertical rib, and that will be the center of that hole. That hole is 2mm in diameter. The larger hole is 3.5mm to 4mm in diameter. The smaller you can make that, the better. The OD of the little rib on the bottom of a 3mm LED is about, I think it's 3.5 to 4mm. Okay, it's 4mm, and this inner hole will be 4mm, which is what the outer diameter of the rib on a 3mm LED is. Center to center, they are 9mm apart. And you can see that the offset from that rib right there, let's measure that, that is 8mm. Oh my gosh, that's exactly 8mm. Well, that was an accident. It happens to be 8mm. Note that these holes that you have to drill, going through the pink side panel here on the Axial F100, has to go through 2 panels. That's both this back one and this front one, because you have the inner and the outer. The outer one here, this visible one, will be what retains the light. The inner one, which is not visible unless we flip it over, will be what we route our 3mm LED into. Now this is critical. You do need a 3mm LED, and I just went ahead and made my own wiring harness for this entire truck body anyway, so that's where I got this from. If you do buy a pre-packaged light kit, which are all over eBay, make sure that the red ones are 3mm, or you'll have to rewire in a 3mm LED. Usually they're 5mm. We're going to go ahead and run this wire, or I should say LED. We'll run this straight out of the hole because we have to fish it into the light. So let's try and get this thing through the hole. Kind of almost coming through. There's our light. Okay, there we go. Now we got it. So we'll just pull this out a bit. Okay, we'll do that for both sides, and then we'll turn the lights on. The LED is on, and if we shove the LED in here, ooh, look at that. This part here is lighting up because I don't have the LED all the way in, but if I do shove it in all the way, that should limit that illumination. What a good idea is as well is to actually paint the outside of the LED in black so that you get a little bit less light bleed, and only focus the LED straight forward. That should be pretty cool. All right, so I've painted the side of the LED, but you can see the front is completely unpainted. Next, we will take the LED and just slot it into its opening here. And it should go quite a ways in there. Now you can see that the light, it's looking a little more even on camera. It's actually a little bit more to the left than I would like, but geometrically you can see why that's happening. The LED is parked right here, aiming that way, but you know, there's little option to actually have it bend inside here because you also have to make sure that this hole is clean. All right, so we'll push that straight on back through. So I'll take my M2 screw, and this is 6mm long. Got a washer on it as well, and we'll push it through the hole here on the inside. You can see it sticking out there. And now we can thread it on. The key here is not to over torque it. We are talking about an M2 screw. These are very, very small. And it looks like, oh shoot, you know what I didn't do? I think I've got some flash on the inner side of the body, my mistake. So you do want to make sure, you can see it there, that this little flash that's stuck onto the body is removed, because that's not going to allow the taillight to sit flat. Trim that clean. There you go. I wanted to note that I found a little bit of the sprue left here as well, so make sure that that is nice and flat. Let's see if attempt number 2 is more successful. I find that the third attempt is the perfect one. And that's our boy right there. That's it. Do it to both sides. They are installed on both sides. Let's shut the light off. And there we have it. Unfortunately on camera, they look all yellow, and that's not actually how they are. They're quite red. But overall, this was the look I was trying to get. The keen observer will note that they are actually mounted too high. The factory pickup should have them about, I don't know, another 5-6mm lower. But now we're talking about an even greater distance that this bracket has to travel down. And I already don't like how it's mounted. So I felt that this was the lesser of the evils. If you are into the taillights, then it does give you the correct taillights for this model of truck. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And we have a few more upgrades to do to the Axial SCX10II F100, so stay tuned.